Hello everybody, welcome back, and I am the Chonic, and this is my Elder Scrolls 6 Theory Series. Yes, and in this episode we're going to discuss the fall of the Aldmeri Dominion. Now, first off, the next main plot of the Elder Scrolls game, by many to believe, and I personally believe, it is going to be about the Second Great War between the Empire and the Aldmeri Dominion. Now, we've received hints in the previous game that this is going to happen, but not exactly how. Now, a lot of people believe it could be the Empire versus the Aldmeri Dominion, or it could be the Stormcloaks and the Empire versus the Aldmeri Dominion, or it could possibly just be the Stormcloaks invading Summerset Isles, something along those lines. However, we might have something different, and this is what I'm going to discuss in this video. Now, this upcoming theory was brought to me by two guys, both The Elder Scrolls is the Best and Sniping Gamer. They both wanted me to do a Valenwood video, and specifically The Elder Scrolls is Best, he wanted me to go over the possible theory that Valenwood might break away from the Aldmeri Dominion, and this led me to a more broader theory, is that the fall of the Aldmeri Dominion might be in the case of the nations breaking away, and will the alliance be shattered? Both Valenwood and Elsweyr both have a potential reason to do so. Now notice I said potential, as the reason is not there yet, but it could be if Bethesda decides to make it canon. Now I'm going to start off with Elsweyr's potential reason. Now, their potential reason is the fact that the Thalmor told them that they are the reason for bringing the moons of Masser and Secunda back to Tamriel's sky. Or should I say, Nirn's sky. Now, the Khajiit are very, very highly worshipping and religious of these moons. And when these moons were gone, the Khajiit were just thrown into chaos and disarray. They were just scared because these moons determine their birth and their breed and all. It has to do with their whole society. So when these moons disappeared from the sky, the Khajiit were just, they couldn't understand what was happening, and they were just thrown off guard because they're like, oh no, like this is what they worshipped. And when the moons actually did reappear in the sky, the Thalmor came and said that it was their doing. They claim that they are the ones that brought the moons back using their magic. And so thus the Khajiit, basically worshipped the Thalmor and abide their allegiance to the Thalmor because of this. And now, this could be true. The Thalmor could have brought the moons actually back, or they could be lying, and they are just saying this just because they wanted the Khajiit and Elsweyr back part of the Dominion again. Perhaps we'll hear about the real reason, and if the real reason is not because of the Thalmor, perhaps the Khajiit will now have a reason to not trust the Thalmor and then want to break away from their alliance with them because of this dishonesty that they received from the Thalmor. Perhaps the Thalmor are even the reason why the moons disappeared in the first place. I mean, perhaps these moons disappeared in the first place because of the Thalmor, and maybe the Thalmor just brought them back to, secure this allegiance with the Khajiit. Maybe this was their way of getting the Khajiit to join, was to get rid of the moons and then throw the Khajiit in disarray, and then all of a sudden bring them back and not really tell them that why the moons disappeared in the first place, why they disappeared in the first place, and only telling them that, hey, we actually bring them back, so you should now help us. Either way, if Bethesda decides to go this route, this is a pretty legitimate reason for Elsweyr breaking away from the Dominion. Now, for the Valenwood side, I almost said Valenwood. I don't know why I find that kind of funny. Anyway, Valenwood, for Valenwood's side, their government body is ruled by the Thalmor. They have a Bosmer king, but he's basically influenced by the Thalmor every day, and so thus the Thalmor technically rule Valenwood. They are the government body, but there is a Bosmer king. However, he's just manipulated by the Thalmor all day long. So perhaps this will give Valenwood a reason for rebellion in trying to make the whole government a Bosmer kingdom again, making the governmental party Bosmer and not Thalmor. Now, if Bethesda decides to make this canon, then perhaps we'll have a really interesting story on our hands. I mean, instead of the next plot being about the Great War just between the Empire and the Aldmeri Dominion as a whole, perhaps the next game will be set in Elsweyr, Valenwood and Summerset Isles, and it will be about the alliance breaking up in the Aldmeri Dominion. But however, we could have the Empire helping the Valenwood rebels and possibly even the Gajit in these efforts. So thus, again, it could just be, the Second Great War, but half of Valenwood and half of Gajit are all still part of the Dominion or supporting of the Thalmor, while the other half will support the Empire. But that's a pretty interesting way to go, in my opinion. I think the more diverse and unique it is, the better. Now, the Thalmor and the Aldmeri Dominion, especially previously, have been seen as kind of like the evil side. Especially Skyrim, who pretty much are in alliance with the Empire. They're against the Aldmeri Dominion, the elves and all that. And so from that game, from their views, we can see that the Aldmeri Dominion, or specifically the Thalmor, are kind of a cruel group. I mean, they're kind of an evil group to the human races. And so thus, we haven't really seen much of their good side or their reason for, doing all this stuff. Now, the Thalmor believe that, their race, the High Elves, are the most superior race, and they believe that, this is true, and they wish to basically control Tamriel, and they believe that Tamriel should be under the rule of elves and not humans. They believe humans are ruining the place. The humans don't know how to rule or something like that. They're immature in ruling. They're a younger race. They're not as superior as the elven races, and they need to be stopped. And elven races, if the elves were in charge, then the peace would be so much better, with the elves in charge, and the life would just be so much better. To them, that's the case for them. So maybe we would hear more about their beliefs and what's good about maybe joining them instead of the Empire. So we haven't really seen much good from the Thalmor, but every side has to have a reason for anything. I mean, they have to have a good reason for fighting for their side. And for these elves believe that their reason is that Tamriel will just be a better place with elves being in charge, and they prefer that the Empire to be destroyed because it is just too young and it is so immature for this Tamriel or whatever. So will we actually see something in terms of the Thalmor side, or will the Thalmor truly be the enemies in the next game? I mean, in other main quests, such as Skyrim's main quest, you have to take out Alduin. You can't side with him, and you can't side with Dagon in Oblivion. You have to take out Dagon. With Martin, you can't slaughter Martin. You don't have that choice. You have to do it. That's so some things are Bethesda sets in stone that you have to do, and so maybe the Thalmor or something you have to destroy. But maybe Bethesda truly wants the Thalmor to be seen as an evil, group of people. Now they do have their reason, I guess, in terms of that they feel that the humans aren't taking good care, I guess, of the people in Tamriel, and so thus they believe that the elves are better at ruling, and they have their reason, and they don't like being under the, I guess you could say, the rule of humans, I guess you can say. So I guess you could see where they're coming from, but then yet again, they use all these cruel methods in taking out, their enemies, and so this could be really, really questionable. But yet again, in order to have peace, sometimes it takes violence in order to gain that peace. So now, guys, I have a question for you, and that is, do you believe that it will just be the Aldmeri Dominion versus the Empire, with, the allegiance of the Dominion staying intact, or do you believe that Valenwood and Elsweyr should break away from the Dominion, or maybe, I guess not all of Elsweyr, because there's going to be some loyalists to the Thalmor, but do you believe that will occur, what we're discussing in this video, or do you believe that the Stormcloaks will invade Summerset Isles while the Empire helps out the Valenwood rebels and the Khajiit in understanding that the Thalmor are evil, you know what I'm saying? Post down below what you think is most likely going to happen for this next game. Please post your predictions. Do you believe the Empire should win, or do you think the Aldmeri Dominion should give it a chance to prove in themselves? I mean, you think this is going to be an open-sided? Do you think we're going to be able to choose a side in this? Or do you think it's just going to be the Empire, just the Aldmeri Dominion? Perhaps, maybe we help the Elven efforts and basically destroy the Empire and claim Tamriel for the Elves and not for the humans. Do you believe that the Empire should control of Tamriel, and that all races be treated equally instead of the Thalmor just saying, hey, we have supremacy over everybody else, but we'd treat, quote unquote, everyone fairly? I don't know. I personally would choose to side with the Empire. Obviously, I would choose to be with the humans over elves. That's just me. But in all seriousness, what do you guys want? Do you think the Thalmor should be truly evil, or would you rather prefer them have a chance to prove themselves otherwise? So, you really got to think about this in a way. But the more I talk about this, the more excited I get to see the next game come out. But we probably won't hear it until another year or two. We might not actually get any real news about the next Elder Scrolls game until sometime at least next year. We might not see any real news. But until then, I am really, really excited for the next game. I do believe it's going to be about the Great War, the Second Great War at that. And I really, really hope that it's really expansive and it's really immersive. I'm really pleading for that the main quest, the Great War, is really just expansive. And in previousness, we haven't really seen any war-based Elder Scrolls games except for the Civil War in Skyrim. I'm talking about the main series. I know ESO is a massive war, but I mean in terms of the main series, all we've had really was the Civil War, and I'd like to see something a lot more massive. Maybe not just attacking forts, but maybe attacking in other destinations. Maybe caves, on sea, on air. We could just go anywhere. We could siege entire cities instead of just forts. There's just so many possibilities, and I'm actually really excited to see what Bethesda could possibly do and how this will actually occur. Will Valenwood just be against you know what I'm saying? I just can't, because there's just so much, I just can't wait. Also, I'd like to apologize to any Stormcloaks who are watching this video, as I'm pretty much slaughtering your brethren and you're pretty much forced to watch it. But anyway, I do have my reason, and I believe it's a pretty good reason for joining the Empire. And I believe that, that pretty much, when you really think about it, even though Bethesda does do really, really well with covering each side with its own goods and bads and pros and cons, I do believe in the end you can find out who is truly the more reasonable side to choose, and I found the Empire to be more of a reasonable side. I'm not saying that the Stormcloaks are bad, their hearts are in the right place and all, but I just believe they're a little bit, should I say, misled. But anyway, I could discuss that with you guys some other time, or maybe in the comments section. Please don't fire that at me. But please don't hurt me. But I'm trying to be reasonable here. But thanks guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions for me, please post down in the comment section below. If you wish to discuss anything with me, please post it in the comment section below. As always, guys, thanks. Have a wonderful day. If you have any theories, please post below, and I'll sure to go over it, perhaps maybe in the nearby future. Thanks guys for watching, and peace out. Thank you very much.
Talos be with you.
What was that, Legate?
Nothing. Just saying goodbye.